One of the biggest changes House the Dragon made from Fire and Blood was Laenor Velaryon faking his death and running away with Khal Quarre by staging a fight between the two, then using a decoy body thrown into a fireplace to make it seem as if Laenor was murdered, thus allowing Rhaenyra to marry Daemon. In the book, Laenor is killed very publicly by Khal in broad daylight in the markets of Spicetown. At the time, and in my review of the episode, I had a lot of people telling me that he could have survived in the book due to it being an inaccurate history book. And while there is a lot of vagueness in Fire and Blood, the death of Laenor was not one of those events. It was very public, with a recoverable body. Laenor died. Thus, there are many implications with Laenor being alive, issues I delved into in a video I will link below, but fundamentally, for the purpose of this discussion, it comes down to the fact that if Laenor is alive, it would impact the dragonseeds storyline, as his dragon, Seasmoke, could not be claimed by Addam of Hull due to Laenor still being alive. The dragonseeds storyline is a vital part of the plot of the Dance of the Dragons. It greatly influences events in the war and introduces important characters into the story who have a large impact on the war and the events that follow in its aftermath. Ulf-White, Hugh Hammer, Nettles, Addam and Alan all play vital roles. For the purpose of this video, we are going to be talking about Addam of Hull and to some extent his younger brother Alan, the supposed bastard sons of Laenor Velaryon, or perhaps Corlys Velaryon, depending on the sources that you believe. After the episode where Laenor fakes his death aired, and in the discussion post-Season 1, it became clear that Laenor would make a return in Season 2. The writers would not have spared him not to bring him back, thus why him being alive impacts Addam's ability to claim Seasmoke. The leading theory for a long time was that Laenor would return, with Addam of Hull being cut from the show and Laenor taking his role in the story. In fact, this theory became so popular, many people across social media, especially Twitter and Reddit, seemed to take this idea as pure fact, with many praising the idea, seeing how great it would be and how Fire and Blood even implies this happened. I always disagreed with it, and the whole idea that Fire and Blood supports it left me scratching my head. Nevertheless, this was a leading theory for a long time, and for a while, it really did look like that's what was going to happen. As more and more casting came out as Season 2 of House of the Dragon went into production, Addam and Alan were not mentioned, fanning the flames further. Addam of Hull not being in House of the Dragon really would impact the story deeply. Not only would you lose this really interesting and cool character as a person, I know a lot of fans compare him to Jon Snow, and while there are definitely parallels there, Addam is a very different character in very different circumstances, but he is vitally important to some of the key events towards the end of the Dance of the Dragons, most notably his actions during the Battle of Tumbleton. But the way he is treated by Rhaenyra as she slowly deepens into paranoia as more and more of the people close to her die is really encapsulated in her treatment of Addam, with Addam's actions at Tumbleton directly proving his and his brother's loyalty to Rhaenyra's cause with no doubt. So Laenor taking the place of Addam not only robs the show of a really compelling character, but more so, none of Addam's story fits Laenor at all, in the slightest. I'm really not sure how the loyalty aspect of it would work with Laenor, why he would need to prove his. So, we have the Seasmoke issue, the fact none of Addam's actions or story fit Laenor, but it actually goes much deeper than that, into ways that it could impact the deep lore of the story. Now, a few weeks ago, Alan Hall was cast, which in turn stuck out for a lot of people as odd. The conclusion that many came to was that only Alan had been cast and not Addam, as of course, Laenor is Addam. The problem we have here is the position Alan finds himself in at the end of the Dance of the Dragons is a direct reaction to the death of Laenor and the fate of Addam. The role Alan plays during the Regency period cannot be understated. In a world with no Addam forging a path for Alan, it would mean either some very sloppy writing or minimising the impact of Addam and Alan of Hull's legacy. But given recent set photos, it does actually seem like Addam has also been cast, which hopefully puts to rest this whole idea of Addam being Laenor in disguise. But that does lead to a lingering question. What's the point of Laenor should it turn out that he is indeed in Season 2 of House of the Dragon? I suspect they saved Laenor in Season 1 because they already had a clear plan of what they wanted to do, a way they could give Laenor a much more fitting death. that gives more of an impact than the book version. For a while, we have known that the Battle of the Gullet will take place during Season 2 of House of the Dragon. I think the perfect way to send off Laenor, once and for all, is for him to be a part of that battle, but not in the way you'd think. If he were to take part in the battle, then I think it would work really well to have Laenor dying trying to save or protect Jace during the battle, thereby keeping his promise to Rhaenyra that he would try and be a better father. But I do think there is a better way than even that fits what we know about the story. I think it would be much better if Laenor returned in a way where the wider cast of characters don't really know about it, thus his survival not impacting the plot or the main characters of the show too greatly. It would prevent a lot of issues with things such as Rhaenyra and Daemon's marriage, and the legitimacy of Aegon and Viserys if Laenor is in fact alive. Just before the battle, Rhaenyra sends her 2 youngest children with Daemon, Aegon and Viserys, away from Westeros, with the intent for them to be fostered in Essos. It is implied that Laenor and Khal, when they escaped Driftmark, were returning to the Stepstones to continue fighting there. Maybe he could be involved in some way with the Dothraki fleet attacking the fleet of ships carrying Aegon and Viserys to Pentos, while they are meant to be fostered safely. The end result of this in the book is Viserys going missing, presumed dead, and Aegon just about making it back to Dragonstone on his injured dragon. Now, with Laenor perhaps actively fighting in the Narrow Sea, he could be involved in the sea battle between the Dothraki fleet and the Velaryon fleet escorting the princes. Maybe seeing the Seahorse banner will be what calls him to action. During the fighting, he would discover Aegon and Viserys, and while not knowing who they are, makes a guess that they are Rhaenyra's children. He could then die defending them, buying Aegon time as he escapes. It would again give him a much more heroic death, and give him surviving Season 1 a true purpose. Another prospect is Laenor could simply be Rhaenyra's contact in Essos, and he is the captain of the ship taking her children to safety. Her choosing a man she trusts to care for her children makes a lot of sense. He could then, like I mentioned before, die trying to protect them. Of course, all of these ideas still have timeline issues when it comes to Sea Smoke, and the whole point of this video, the impact of Addam of Hull's story. As of right now, I find it hard to see a clean way of doing it. While I don't like it, there is also the possibility that Laenor could just die off screen, with characters such as Daemon and Rhaenyra realising he's dead, when Addam is actually able to bond with Sea Smoke. It could create this personal moment for Rhaenyra. It can maybe help fuel her distrust of Addam later in the story, with her perhaps harbouring some sort of resentment towards Addam for claiming Laenor's dragon. While him dying off screen early would be the cleanest method of trying to tie up these loose ends, it would be a shame to Laenor as a character to save him than just have him die off screen, despite it being the cleanest method in terms of story. Addam of Hull is one of my favourite characters in Fire and Blood, and I think he could be a fan favourite if done right in the TV show. It would be a real shame for his story to be cut, or even diminished by having it fit around Laenor's survival in Season 1. The actions of Addam are vital to the longer term lore of Westeros, specifically through his brother Alan. Things are looking positive Addam will be in House of the Dragon, thanks to the leaked set photos, but until I see him on screen, I'm not going to take anything for granted. Are you guys looking forward to seeing Addam and Alan of Hull in Season 2 of House of the Dragon? And I'm curious, for anyone who's read the books, who is their father, Laenor or Corlys? I'm working on a long video about that subject right now, so input would be great.